Hello friends! I'm delighted to share this important information with you today about protein nutrition, a topic that's essential for all adults, but especially important as we age. Whether you're in your 40s, 60s, or beyond, understanding protein's role in your health can make a significant difference in your quality of life. Welcome to our comprehensive guide on protein nutrition for adults. Today we're exploring the crucial role of protein throughout adulthood, its scientific background, physiological functions, and health benefits with special emphasis on considerations for older Americans. The American Geriatric Society recognizes protein as a fundamental nutrient for healthy aging, and we'll explain why it deserves special attention in your dietary planning. Protein Science Fundamentals. Proteins are complex macromolecules consisting of amino acid chains essential for virtually all biological processes. The term protein was first introduced in 1838 by Dutch chemist Gerardus Johannes Mulder, derived from the Greek word proteos, meaning of primary importance. The National Academy of Medicine, formerly the Institute of Medicine, established the recommended dietary allowance (RDA) for protein at 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight for adults. However, as Dr. Robert Wolfe, protein metabolism researcher at the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences, notes, the RDA represents the minimum amount needed to prevent deficiency, not the optimal amount for healthy aging. Many older Americans would benefit from protein intake well above the RDA. Throughout American dietary history, protein sources have evolved. Native American traditional diets combined maize with legumes for complementary amino acid profiles. Early colonial food preservation techniques included smoking and salting meats for year-round protein access. The post-World War II era saw increased animal protein consumption with economic prosperity. Recent decades have witnessed renewed interest in plant-based protein sources, reflecting both nutritional science advances and environmental considerations. Protein physiology and functions. Protein serves numerous essential physiological functions: structural support for tissues and organs, enzymatic catalysis of biochemical reactions, immune defense through antibody production, hormonal signaling and regulation, transportation of molecules throughout the circulatory system, fluid and electrolyte balance maintenance, acid-base equilibrium, energy provision during nutritional deficiency states. Dr. Ronnie Kurnoff, former director of the Arkansas Geriatric Education Center, explains, as we age, our bodies become less efficient at synthesizing protein from dietary sources. This age-related anabolic resistance means older adults need more protein to stimulate the same muscle protein synthesis that occurs more easily in younger people. Protein sources and quality assessment. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics recognizes various protein sources with distinct nutritional profiles. Complete protein sources, containing all essential amino acids. Animal-derived proteins, lean meats, poultry, fish, eggs, and dairy products. Select plant proteins, soy, quinoa, and amaranth. Incomplete protein sources, requiring complementary consumption. Legumes, beans, lentils, peas. Nuts and seeds, especially walnuts, almonds, chia seeds. Whole grains, particularly higher protein varieties. For older adults, the American Medical Directors Association recommends focusing on leucine-rich protein sources, as this amino acid particularly stimulates muscle protein synthesis. Good leucine sources include dairy products, lean meats, and specific legumes. According to Dr. Walter Longo, director of the Longevity Institute at the University of Southern California, protein needs for older adults are clearly higher than the RDA suggests. Not only do seniors need more protein, but the timing and quality of that protein becomes increasingly important with advancing age. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services now recognizes malnutrition screening as an important component of care for older Americans, with protein status assessment as a key element. Clinical benefits of optimal protein consumption. The National Institute on Aging recognizes several evidence-based benefits of adequate protein intake: muscular health and function, preservation of lean muscle mass, particularly important after age 65, support for muscular strength and physical function, mitigation of age-related sarcopenia, enhanced recovery following hospitalization, metabolic regulation, improved glucose homeostasis, enhanced thermic effect of feeding, greater satiety signals that assist with weight management, support for basal metabolic rate maintenance, immunological function, production of immunoglobulins and cytokines, support for lymphocyte proliferation, enhanced wound healing capacity, reduced infection risk in institutionalized older adults, skeletal integrity, complementary support with calcium for bone mineral density, collagen matrix formation for bone structure, reduction in hip fracture risk observed in higher protein diets when calcium is adequate. Dr. Elena Volpe, director of the Seeley Center on Aging at the University of Texas Medical Branch, emphasizes, adequate protein intake is a modifiable factor that can significantly impact the trajectory of functional decline in older adults. It's one of the most effective nutritional strategies we have for extending health span. Special considerations for American older adults. The Administration for Community Living recommends several population-specific considerations. For those with limited dentition, soft protein sources, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, scrambled eggs, ground meat preparations rather than whole cuts, nut butters rather than whole nuts, protein-fortified smoothies incorporating dairy or plant-based alternatives. For those with dysphagia, consultation with speech therapists to determine appropriate texture modifications, thickened protein-rich liquids when appropriate, soft-cooked protein sources at appropriate consistency levels, medical nutrition supplements when prescribed by healthcare providers. For those with fixed incomes, economical complete protein sources, eggs, canned fish, rotisserie chicken, utilization of SNAP benefits for protein purchases, community resources such as senior center meals that meet protein requirements, freezing portion proteins when available at reduced prices. For those with multiple medications, awareness of protein medication interactions, particularly with levodopa, coordination of protein intake timing with medication schedules when needed, consultation with pharmacists regarding specific protein-drug interactions, documentation of any protein restrictions in Medicare Part D medication therapy management programs. For those with chronic conditions, modified requirements for renal insufficiency under nephrologist guidance, hepatic-appropriate protein sources for those with liver conditions, anti-inflammatory protein sources for arthritis and cardiovascular conditions, texture-modified options for those with gastrointestinal disorders, evidence-based clarification of protein misconceptions. The American Medical Association identifies several misconceptions regarding protein consumption. Clinical evidence on renal function. Research demonstrates that for individuals without pre-existing kidney disease, moderate to high protein intake does not negatively impact renal function. The National Kidney Foundation recommends individualized protein guidance for those with existing renal insufficiency. It's important to regularly check kidney function if protein intake goes over 1.5 grams per kilo of body weight daily in older adults. Plant protein complementation. Contemporary nutritional science confirms that strict protein complementation at each meal is unnecessary. Consuming varied plant proteins throughout the day provides adequate essential amino acid profiles. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics supports well-planned plant-based diets for all life stages when appropriately implemented. Upper threshold efficacy. The law of diminishing returns applies to protein consumption. According to the American College of Sports Medicine, eating more than 2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight each day doesn't give much extra muscle-building benefit. Excessive protein consumption may displace other essential nutrients in calorie-restricted diets. Supplementation necessity. The Food and Nutrition Board acknowledges that whole food protein sources are preferable when possible. Medical nutrition supplements are appropriate when medically indicated or when functional limitations impair food preparation. Medicare Part B covers medical nutrition therapy for certain conditions when prescribed. Bone health relationships. The National Osteoporosis Foundation confirms that adequate protein intake supports bone health when calcium and vitamin D status are sufficient. Older research suggesting protein leaches calcium has been largely superseded by more methodologically rigorous studies. Dr. Walter Willett, professor of epidemiology and nutrition at Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, states, "The evidence clearly shows that adequate protein intake throughout life, and especially in older age, is associated with better health outcomes including maintenance of functional abilities and independence." Practical implementation strategies. The U.S. Department of Agriculture and Department of Health and Human Services provide pragmatic recommendations. Meal planning approaches. Incorporation of high-quality protein at each meal. My Plate for Older Adults, developed by Tufts University, recommends protein occupy approximately a quarter of the plate. Strategic planning of protein-centric meals earlier in the day for older adults. Preparation of nutrient-dense protein sources that align with cultural preferences. Economical protein sources. Eggs provide exceptional nutritional value per dollar. Canned fish, particularly salmon, tuna, and sardines, offer omega-3 fatty acids with protein. Legume combinations with whole grains create economical complete protein meals. Strategic utilization of sales and bulk purchasing with proper freezer storage. Preparation methods for limited functional capacity. Batch cooking protein sources for multiple meals. Utilization of slow cookers requiring minimal handling and preparation. Pre-portioned protein sources requiring minimal preparation. Community programs such as Meals on Wheels for those with significant limitations. Protein fortification of common foods. Addition of egg whites to soups and casseroles. Incorporation of Greek yogurt into various preparations. Integration of legume flours into baked goods. Utilization of higher protein grains in place of traditional alternatives. The National Council on Aging recommends that older adults work with healthcare providers to establish personalized protein intake goals based on individual circumstances including functional status, chronic conditions, and medication regimens. Clinical considerations and contraindications. The American Geriatric Society identifies several important clinical considerations. Individuals with established chronic kidney disease require individualized protein guidance from nephrology specialists. Those with hepatic encephalopathy need carefully controlled protein amounts and timing. Certain genetic metabolic disorders necessitate specialized protein restrictions. Individuals with PKU phenylketonuria require lifelong monitoring of phenylalanine intake. Medication interactions must be considered, particularly with MAO inhibitors and certain Parkinson's disease treatments. Dr. Christine Gerbstadt, former spokesperson for the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, explains, "While adequate protein is crucial for healthy aging, medical oversight becomes increasingly important when multiple chronic conditions are present. Annual physical examinations covered by Medicare provide important opportunities to review nutritional status and needs." Conclusion: protein as a cornerstone of healthy aging. The scientific evidence reviewed by major American medical organizations supports the critical role of protein in healthy aging. As the U.S. population continues to age, with adults over 65 representing the fastest-growing demographic segment, proper protein nutrition becomes increasingly significant for public health. The National Institute on Aging emphasizes that adequate protein intake represents a modifiable factor that can significantly impact functional independence, cognitive performance, immune function, and overall quality of life throughout the adult years. For older adults specifically, slightly higher protein intakes than the general adult RDA, properly distributed throughout the day, appear to provide optimal support for healthy aging processes. Healthcare providers, particularly those working within Medicare systems, should routinely assess protein status as part of comprehensive geriatric assessment. The American Board of Family Medicine now includes nutritional assessment as a component of geriatric certification, recognizing its foundational importance in preventive healthcare. Medical disclaimer: the information provided is for educational purposes only and should not replace personalized medical advice. Consult with qualified healthcare providers regarding specific nutritional recommendations, particularly in the context of existing medical conditions or medication regimens. Medicare annual wellness visits provide an appropriate opportunity to discuss individual protein requirements with healthcare providers. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on new health and nutrition content. See you next time.